Mike 1, not Mike 2. All right, I'm going to call the planning board meeting to order here. I'm going to start with approval of the agenda.
Second.
Motion to approve the agenda as submitted and seconded. Any discussion on the agenda? Mike 1 is here now. Aye. Okay. All right. I see no discussion. All those in favor of approving the agenda as submitted signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Move to approval of the October 6th planning meeting minutes.
Move approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion on the minutes as presented? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That passes unanimously. We'll go to public comments. Now it's time for public comments. These would be public comments for something that is not on the agenda. If it's an item on the agenda, we'll give you time to speak to that item when it comes up. For those of you commenting on making comments on public comments on this item, the board can take no action, but they can hear you out and you can provide information. Is there anybody here to provide information on public comments? Mr. Burns.
I'm Bob Burns. I'm a landowner near Piedmont, quite near the impending mine operation that's coming up in a few months. I left a sheet up there with some information that I've gathered from the state website, from other people, and from some interviews from Kelloland. We got a notice from Simons a little over a year ago. They were interested in our limestone on our property. We didn't want to pursue that, and I assumed that no one along that area would be interested in that either. And I also assumed that we had laws and regulations to regulate that. I found out that that wasn't the case. When this came up, I called Pier and started asking them questions about what they regulate. Do you control the dust? Do you control the amount of land they disturb before they have to reclaim it? And they said, no, we don't reclaim. We don't supervise anything. That's up to the local governing authorities, the county. So the county is the local governing authority to regulate sand and gravel mines. The county tried, my understanding is, to pass an ordinance, and they were told by the state they couldn't. But it's our belief that that only pertains to hard rock mining, to mineral mining, that you can pass an ordinance on sand and gravel mining. And so I'm here to urge you to proceed with that. We have people working on possible ordinances that they would propose. And if you have any questions on the paper I have up there, I'm glad to answer them now, or I'll step down and let the day go on. Thank God.
Yeah, well, just a couple of things, Bob. I'm not sure this board, ordinances usually originate with the commission. So rather than, it's probably more appropriate to direct any comments or any proposals you got to the commission, because they're going to have to originate there. That doesn't mean that this board might not be asked to weigh in on it. But I'm not sure under planning, the statutes under Title 11 for the state statutes, that this board, even if there's ability to pass some regulations, would be involved in that unless the commission specifically included them in, like it has with the building permits, where we provide initial consultation.
Understood, and this is so new to everyone down there. Everyone, I think, is just intending to get the word out at every public meeting there is, even if it's in a bar late at night. So.
Well, yeah. Well, the most important information source. For those of you that were at the commission meeting, I had some comments regarding this. That one of the great hangups here is the fact we have no zoning. At the commission meeting, I made a comment that zoning that got voted down 4-1 back, and I thought it was 10 years ago. I've actually been doing some research on it. It looks like it was about 13 years ago. when that election was had, and it's difficult from a commission standpoint to have people who voted overwhelmingly to not allow the commission to regulate activities on other people's land, then have these people come back and say, why aren't you regulating that? Now, times have changed. The valley's changed a lot in the last 12 years, but at the statement I made in front of at the commission meeting was there's probably going to need to be some kind of groundswell to support this before the commission is going to weigh in on any of this, given that last election.
We understand that, and we appreciate the commissioner's opinion on this and their feelings that something should be done. And there is a groundswell going up in a grassroots movement moving forward.
Okay,
and we want to work with planning board because you have opinions and some of you are local. You can give us some advice. And thank you very much for your time.
And public comment further, sir, did you want to come up? You have to come up if you want to make public comment and identify yourself in the microphone so we know who you are.
My name is Mike Mendelson. I'm a Piedmont resident. I would say that I moved here 8 years ago. So, like, prior to that, would have never had a vote.
Could you try again?
Sorry. Got me there. Kept it on the side. But, wouldn't have had a vote for that. And I would also say, like, how many more houses have been built in Piedmont and that area in between 13 years? Like, I think there's got to be some, the population has grown quite a bit in this area, like Piedmont.
Yeah, right around that mine, not a lot of housing, but throughout the valley, quite a bit.
Right, yeah.
So
that's all I had.
Good, thank you.
My name is Chris Greenberg, Grandview Terrace, Piedmont. I was at the commission meeting last week. Was very, very disappointed in the fact that the group was somewhat lectured by what we can and cannot do. The question I have is coming from the business background that I have, is where do my rights stop when they put a mine by my house? I bought land, going to build a home, going to make Piedmont my home. But when the dust comes over the fence and the noise comes through, where does my rights stop and start? So if somebody puts a bar by my house, and I know it's which is commercial, I expect that. I expected houses. I expected maybe perhaps even a hotel behind the big gas station. Never once I expect a mine. And yet when I talk to the city people, the commission, the city of Piedmont, I'm here today to tell you that the same answer I got from your county attorney, met him myself, is there's nothing we can do. Nothing. Nothing. Seriously, if I have one more attorney tell me there's nothing that we can do, that's not right. I can leave this country and go back to where I want. It doesn't matter. But there are people that can't leave. So instead of saying, what can't we do, this commission doesn't do, so Mr. Burns, and nothing you can do, this is more of a commission thing, or we have to go through a huge election for zoning. Don't we all care about each other? I guarantee the mining companies don't care about us. I ask you, think about your neighbors. What can we do? As a planning group, we should not allow planning to go like this, where this is completely unregulated and the state is doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'll make a point, Mr. Greenberg, is that I'm not trying to say there's nothing you can do, but the county is controlled by the laws that we are allowed to pass. And we can only enforce the laws that are on the books. I encourage everybody out there, I encourage people in the election in 2012 to vote in zoning. These are some things that can be done. We can only follow the laws. So. Sure, you can try to amend things, and that's what.
Can you do that? Not the voters. Can you do it, Mr. Tell? So can you guys do it? Can you add ordinances?
Yes. So I'm not here to get in an argument. I'm telling you.
I'm not trying to argue with you either. I'm just trying to get my point. You continue to visit, but Isn't that what we do here, to create new things that are better for the county?
First of all, this is a planning board, so they don't make laws.
They make suggestions.
Well, they approve things within the confines of the existing law, state and local. I can appreciate that you're angry because it's close to your place, but no one's trying to lecture you. I am telling you, and what I told during the commission meeting is the commission's restricted. And the comment I made that perhaps you take umbrage to was the fact that when a law is passed by a commission that takes significant time and significant efforts of the commission and it loses 4-1, it's very difficult, even though there's been a passage of time, for that commission to be the party to push it forward again. And that's why I've asked and suggested there needs to be some groundswell support, because it's incredibly expensive and incredibly time consuming. We have a limited number of staff to do zoning ordinances and to do these ordinances. So if it is very difficult from a commission standpoint to try to champion something that they perceive could very easily just be voted down again. So that's just the reality of the situation. I wanted zoning. So I'm not trying to lecture you. I'm telling you the reality of the situation, being somebody who's lived in the valley for 30 years.
So it's true. There's nothing that we can do.
We haven't.
I mean, no. You're saying that we have to have zoning. That's what you come back to from last week when you sat over here, sir.
Yes.
You said that zoning's the only way we can do anything.
I said that zoning would have stopped this, I believe. I'm not saying it's the only way things can be done, but we don't have anything on the books to control it at this time.
And that's what we're trying to find, is a way for us to be able to. I hear it all the time. There's nothing we can do. That's not. Thank you for your time.
Additional public comment.
Thank you. Hi, my name is John Carley, State Senator for District 29, Meade County, and great to see all of you with planning. Was here last week also for the County Commission meeting, and I appreciate, Talbot, you allowing us to speak there on that topic. And it's just bringing this awareness to everyone. So, a couple things maybe to think about. At the state level, we're going to be looking at it and are already looking at it. My request for, first to think about is this is our front door to Meade County. So, coming up the interstate, I-90, we've got 3 cities there, Somerset, Blackhawk, and Piedmont, are all kind of our front door entry to Meade County. So it's a very important area. And this mine, from all the constituents that have contacted me, are very concerned about that, kind of tearing up that hill. It's very beautiful entering Meade County. We want to preserve that. Also, there's a lot more homes now that are nearby or surrounding or even looking at it across the interstate. So I think the request here is let's be creative. Let's find methods that we maybe can look at outside of the box. Certainly, zoning was turned down a few years ago, but I'd just say despite the zoning, let's look at what else we can do, because certainly we could have another zoning election that may not change anything in relation to this. So that's why my request is just to study the issue, to look at it, see if ordinances, see if other creative methods can be studied. I can tell you from the state level, we're doing the same thing. If we go and pass a bill in January, February, March, is that necessarily going to change anything there? It may or may not. But we're looking at creative methods, talking with the A&R, Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources, and other methods that we could look at, because we're definitely going to be impacting the public with all those that are living around there. So anyway, that's my request. Just be creative, look at other options despite some of the things that are not in place now, and see if anyone can come up with them. I know the grassroots are trying to do that. The city's trying to do that. Be great for the county or planning commission to do that, and certainly from the state, we're trying to be creative and look at how we can help the people of Meade County with that. So thank you for that.
Thank you for coming. Other public comment? Other public comment? I'm going to close public comment, and we'll go to item 3, old business, 3A, final plats, lots 1 and 2 of Haydraw subdivision. Staff. Shannon, would it be here to be on this one too?
This is the final plat of Haydraw subdivision. All items that were requested have been submitted. A well agreement, the well.
Your mic on.
Oh, yeah. I don't have a screen
Okay.
Or a mic.
or a mic
Or a mic or.
or anything. That's all right.
There you go.
So in the preliminary plat, we had requested that a written well share agreement be presented, that the well would serve lot 1 and 2, a well report from a certified operator that meets ordinance 33, and the utility easement from the water line to the suction line. All those items have been addressed and submitted. This is the revised plat that shows the water line is now 52 foot, or utility easement will be dedicated as 52 foot wide for the water lines and utilities within that lot. A copy of the well share agreement was in part of the packet. It addresses what we need. And then the water, the capability of producing is 15 to 16 gallons per minute, which meets our ordinance.
Yeah. Shannon, anything to add?
I would just add, I do know that, we come to you guys before with the variance to utilize the existing wells on there. But we just wanted to prove that the main well, whether those would be utilized or not, is just going to take a lot more work to get those pumping or whatever. But we do have proof that the existing one exists or that produces. The landowners building homes, they are going to add, they expressed to me to add cistern tanks, just holding tanks so they're not demanding that well to work every time. They have that water storage, but just wanted to add that too. I think that's just another added feature to the water system itself. So, but other than that, everything else, it was done according to the last meeting.
Okay, questions for the proponent?
More curiosity than anything, 52 feet, how did that number get arrived at?
2 foot wide easement.
I basically took the existing water line that's in there. I offsetted it over to the west 10 feet, and then I just went right over to the section line right away.
Yeah.
Based on our last conversation. So.
Okay, great
idea.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Is there anybody else here to speak to this plat? Seeing none, is there any motions?
I move approval.
Second.
Approval of the final plat.
Staff didn't recommend any conditions, correct?
No, I did not.
Okay, been moved and seconded to approve the final plat as presented. Discussion. Before I call for the vote, I'm going to, you guys mark me down as abstaining since I wasn't here for the preliminary, please. All those in favor of the approval of the plat as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, so it passes with just the one abstention. We'll move to item 4, new business, item A under that, preliminary plats of lots 1 and 2 of Double Diamond Estates.
Okay. This one, you've seen previously presented, I believe, as just a form of intent. But at that time, they were 5-acre parcels. We're coming back now with 9-acre parcels of property. And we do have a letter from Bear Butte Valley Water stating that
they're fine with us hooking to their system, or they're fine with, if the landowner chooses to drill his own well, they sent us a letter that they were fine with the landowner doing that too. So, so we got the water covered, and then also what we're proposing is, for the access easements, correct me if I'm wrong here. So on the bottom, running along that quarter line, we're going to build that road to county standards. And then when they go up to, essentially go up to the lots, which is basically their driveways here, we're asking for variance there for those roads to be built to the 14-foot wide standard. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, anything else? Yeah.
Oh, there's another plat.
An updated plat that shows those to be 9-acre lots.
Okay, so can we pull that? Make sure that we're all looking at the same thing. That attached separately in the agenda? Yeah, so while she's pulling that, Shannon, and I guess maybe it changes it once we get to these bigger lots, but I'm troubled by the access easement going through, running in.
Okay. For the
lot to the, must be to the east.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Because a good chunk of that access goes through major drainage easement, which
right.
I find problematic. Because we've run in these situations where it hasn't seen water for 30 years, and all of a sudden the access is underwater, and then the landowner won't give them alternative access.
Right. So see, what you're talking right through here.
Yeah, right
correct?
through there. I mean,
Yep.
you're sitting
Yep.
in a major drainage easement, or minor maybe it is, but you're sitting in a drainage easement through a good chunk of that driveway.
Right, and I think that's something, I wonder if that's something we can address, because really parts of that, we shoot the outside edges of them to give the width. And sometimes these depths aren't shown where some of these depths are, whether it's a 2-foot depression or a 15-foot, you know what I mean? So this is relatively just a gradual backflow area, I would call it, from the main creek areas up here coming around. And these are just more drainages that contribute water to the creek. But I don't know if we can address that or just slide the driveway over.
Well, yeah, I think it's sliding the driveway over. I think just so you're out of it would be my preference.
Okay, because we could easily come down and then angle and stay in this area.
Right.
Okay, so we can do that.
Part of it we left it as if we couldn't get the private access easement, that we met the 1320 road length, so that's where the cul-de-sac and everything measures out correctly.
Okay.
So we slide it over, then they would probably have to ask for a variance to go over the 1320 for a primary a dead-end primary road.
About 60 feet of a variance. So.
Yep.
Because really, we just need to come off the top of that cul-de-sac or the end of it. So
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather give the variance and have saying your driveway has to be in a drainage easement.
So I put the plat on with all the variances that could be possible. I saw in the ordinance 22 that the planning board can lessen it to a private access easement versus a 66-foot dedicated road. So I didn't know if you guys are going to support that or not. So we have a lot of variance options just to see how the plat was going to go through, and then we would come back with variances for the final, just so we weren't, here's 5 variances, but we didn't need them all.
All right, so am I understanding it's going to be a county spec road until you hit the driveways, and then the driveways you want at 14 feet?
Correct.
Well, how wide are you talking this?
Well, the one coming in off of Bear Butte Road, that coming in, that'll be the 28-foot where we come out, and then we go into the driveway. So then if you ever do continue in the future, like we talked, that one would be.
Yeah, because the elevation changed from the road to where that second road hooks into that, the main road there. there's probably an elevation difference of about 75 foot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it all goes up. So as far as having any drainage there, it'd probably be,
Yep.
but anyway, I get that.
Other questions for the proponents? Staff have anything else you'd like us to comment on specifically?
So my understanding is we're good with the private access and utility easement for roads. Oh, that'd be with the
The
road,
coming in would be will that be dedicated or just built to county specs? That,
built to county spec.
okay, we can still considered private? Okay,
Mhm.
and then,
Yep.
but it'd be built county spec and then drop them to the driveway standards. If you go to subdivide then and put more on those driveways, you're gonna have to improve them would be.
Yep.
Yes,
Right.
And then,
Right.
and then my comment on, yeah, maybe it's not much of a drainage, but I still get really nervous about, I don't know who's going to be there or what the next storm atlas does. So, the other questions for the proponents?
Could we just run through a summary then? What are the variances that?
What? I got most of them, I think.
So,
One of the main ones would be
The driveway accesses.
driveway access, but also bring in Bear Butte Road up to county specs. We went out and measured. I measured, sent Tanya pictures and everything. It's a 23 to 24 foot wide top on it. It has gravel shoulders, but they all slope down to the ditch. But ditch sections are very well. So I think that road's in very good condition. It's a little short, probably on the top of being 2 foot on each side from being county spec, but it's a legit 24 foot wide surface road. So I think that one would be one of the ones. The width of the private driveways of 14 feet would be the other. Not have to dedicate the adjoining landowner's property on the other side of Bear Butte Road. We are dedicating our portion of Bear Butte Road.
the cul-de-sac would have to have one if we go over
Oh, yeah.
1320.
Yeah, which
Yep.
makes,
Yep.
yeah. Bear Butte Road, on Bear
On
Butte
Bear
Road.
Butte Road we are.
On Bear Butte
We're-
Road.
Not on the other.
We're giving right away.
Yep.
Why am I?
Because it's in
Requirement of the plat because it's a future arterial.
So I'm
That is
giving,
not true.
I'm giving you right away, correct?
That,
Even though that doesn't touch the road,
well, the
was-
land touches the road.
not the piece that I'm replatting.
That was one of my
It's still
questions.
private property. A lot does
Oh,
not
we
touch
did
Bear
talk
Butte
about
Road.
I thought you were coming off Bear Butte Road.
You have a picture of the plat?
With the road, yes.
Maybe I
but-
don't think I do.
But the lot doesn't, the lots that are
This
requiring,
ordinance here is the one we're trying to decide if this would be applicable or not. The subdivision boundaries don't touch the road comes off of Bear Butte. to
But he
supply
owns
new
the
subdivision.
he owns the adjoining road. He owns the adjoining property? Yeah, so.
I do. So
Yeah.
it won't be, those plats though won't be, I
Yeah.
won't own those plats.
This is all adequate description right now, right? Yeah, no. I'm not gonna vote for a variance to avoid dedicating that additional right of way.
Yeah, so I do need to update the plat if that's gonna be.
So the ordinance says if you butt, so we didn't know if these had a butt, then you would dedicate or.
Or he's
sub-
dedicating
subdi-
part of the north
road.
half of the southwest corridor, right? Well, that's the description, at the very
Yep.
least. You know, and it's all aliquot, it's probably all one tax parcel. I mean, otherwise, nobody'd have to dedicate anything, they'd just leave a short buffer strip. That wouldn't make any sense to me. I mean, that's my position of the other people on the planning board, but that doesn't seem to make kind of defeats the whole purpose of the ordinance. So you could always avoid dedicating it as long as you had an adequate description. Didn't plat right up to the road. Yeah,
I've seen that before to stay out of city limits too. It's kind of a good little trick.
well, that's why I always worry when I'm always looking for I always look for your little tricks when you show up. Shane.
I know.
So-
I didn't do that trick. I noticed it on another plat. I thought it was pretty clever.
So basically, you're taking right away all the way up, almost all to the whole, for another half mile then. Everything that's in that parcel.
Well, I guess that's one thing we could
That's what I'm asking.
decide is how far.
Because if you go to widen the road here, let's say 10 years down the road, you get to pay the guy on the other side for his right away.
Depends if he's platted or not.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be. I mean, he owns the property just like I do, but you'll pay his right away, but you won't pay for mine.
Well, if he hasn't platted, we probably wouldn't have made him dedicate it.
Well, which is true.
So I mean, you don't have to plat your land, sir.
Can
Well,
we agree on? Can we just go to that? What is that? The 16th line? I can't read that.
I mean, this is always trouble to me is whether we should be making you plat the remnant of the quarter anyway. And so I'm more than willing to do that too.
Do what?
Require you to plat the remaining of those quarters.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, we could go to that rule where if you're going to start chopping up something, you have to plat the remnant.
Yep.
I mean,
But can we decide where's the dedicated public right of way can stop and end? I guess that's what I'm trying to get at.
It stops at that quarter line, or goes all the way up.
it goes.
Well,
another
yeah, Scott owns
three quarters
to the north.
of a mile to the section line.
I think you got to get north of where you're platting.
I could take that northeast corner of lot 1 and draw a perpendicular line to the road.
Lot 2.
Lot 02.
Lot 2
yeah.
goes further
Yep.
north.
Okay.
And then you're going to have to do it to a certain aliquot. So maybe it's a quarter, as opposed to half a section. So, but I don't know. I'd have to take a look.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I interpret the statutes. Otherwise, or our ordinances.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm more than open for people to tell me otherwise, but it doesn't make any sense to me that you're not dedicating as you plat it, because that's what we require everybody to do. Okay, other questions? Yeah, and I think maybe I've asked, is anybody else here to speak to this plat? So, is staff looking for us to pass this along as preliminary, subject to him obtaining necessary variances, or what's the position here?
The variances would have to be in place before final platting.
Well, no question.
So it would be preliminary plat could defer it until all the variances come through, or contingent on the variances being approved in December.
I would prefer deferring. There's enough questions that we're doing things as we go on here. I think there needs to be a little more thought put into it instead of trying to fashion something that says contingent on we've got 5 or 6 variances in front of us. I would just as soon see us address those variances and have the answers coming in first.
So, Shannon, you think you can get the variances all filed by December, so we just defer it to December, or you want us to leave it open-ended?
No, we can do it by December.
We're good with the water letter since it's under.
Well, he's gone to the 9 acres, so, I mean, my preference would be that they use Bear Butte water, but, I mean, he's got the options. Not required to under our ordinance.
I have a question if I can, Tanya.
Yeah.
reviewing the notes here, it mentioned something in the September meeting minutes about before the application expires. How close are we to that window? On page 4, September 8, 2025 planning meeting notes, motion to defer the plat until the applicant brings it back as long as it's before the application expires. Do we know when the application expires?
Of September 8th of 2026. He has 1 full year.
Yeah, we threw that on because lack of contact, essentially. We weren't sure they were going to go through with it. We didn't want to leave it open-ended forever.
I move we defer to the December meeting.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to defer to this December meeting, the plat, so the variances can be filed and dealt with at the same meeting. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 That passed unanimously. Okay, we'll go to item B of new business, 4B, preliminary plats, lots DL2, revised DL3, and others.
Okay. Shannon Boston Spaceline Surveying. Dale Lampers here sitting beside me. So this is a plan that he come to me about. Okay. Your reasoning. So on lot DL2, that's basically where Dale's art studio has always been all these years. So planning for future, Dale is wanting to plat that off to actually donate that to. Go ahead.
We formed a nonprofit. We have our 501c3 status federally, and the title of the organization is the Lamphere Studio for the Arts. We've got our board formed. We've got a former executive director of Black Hills Area Community Foundation, Liz Hamburg, and a former federal judge, Jeff Fiken, and Karen Simmons Park. They're all on our board, so we've got the legal, financial, and nonprofit foundation blocks laid. And what I want to do is just donate this 5 acres initially to a revocable trust, and then once we get this thing really rolling and funded, then I would transfer that to the nonprofit. But I mean, after 50 years, I've got all its equipment and materials and capacity, and if I don't do something like this, when I'm gone, it will just be piecemealed out and come to nothing. But this allows it to remain a place of inspiration and creativity for future artists. And we've got programs that we've conducted over decades with universities and schools and various organizations to host events and to do workshops. We've got one coming up this weekend. So it's just a continuation of something we've been doing all along.
So basically lot DL2 was a 19-acre lot, 20-acre lot. We're looking to dedicate 60 foot of right-of-way on Fort Meade Way side, on Dale's side. Utilizing the existing main driveway that Dale's been using for all these years for both his home and the studio. Also, we just wanted to protect, there's another road that goes up to a couple buildings in the remainder of lot DL2. So we just wanted to protect those. So basically, DL2 Revised has double access, has access off Fort Meade Way. With an improved approach it would, and then also through the driveway part. So, like I said, there's existing well. We created a well lot. Both homes are currently hooked to that well lot. And septics and drain fields, they're all in place and have been for many years. So, power's there. So basically, I think we got that covered on that part.
Shannon,
got any questions?
this isn't, you said something about another drive. Is it existing? You're not looking at doing another driveway off of Fort Meade, right?
No, I was just stating that DL2 revised, really, it has access it could come off of Fort Meade Way too, so.
Okay.
But since Dale uses that existing trail from other buildings, we just wanted to protect that, so when it does exchange hands to the nonprofit organization, that easement's protected for.
Okay, thank you.
So we're going to need testing on the well, I'm assuming, to show that's sufficient, because it actually technically could serve 3 lots, it looks like here, because you'd have 2 lots plus it looks like that southeast quarter.
We also have Bear Butte Valley water there.
Yeah, but they're not. Are you bringing Bear Butte Valley water in?
No, we haven't as yet.
Yeah.
Though in our easement, it specifies that at any time we could tap into that.
Yeah.
And the remainder would obviously probably use Bear Butte Valley water. So. Or I mean, if you build up close. You know.
Yeah. I think you're going to need to get some kind of clarification whether it's through a joint easement, because of what you tell me, Shannon, that DL2 and that southeast quarter are also going to use that private access easement potentially.
No. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, the center line of the 40-foot private access and utility easement, yes. And I'll add, I was just making myself notes for the benefit of, just to give more clarity of who would have the right to use those easements. So I meant to have that on there, because it would say southeast, and then DL3 as well as DL2 revised.
Yeah, because somebody could come in there and think that's an exclusive access.
Yep.
Or DL3, excuse me. Okay. Other questions for the proponents?
Anya, could you walk through the variances?
So the driveway, the 40-foot wide private access easement, we'd have to be able, if you guys allow that, Article 7188 allows you guys that discretionary to do that or not. The width of it probably doesn't meet any requirement. I don't know how wide it is. Do you know how wide that is? Coming in off of Fort Meade Way.
You mean the road, the existing
I
road?
think it's 40 foot at this point.
No, I mean your gravel road, your driveway.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would say, as we pass, we've got stone pillars on each side of the road, and they're a good 40 foot apart, I would say.
Yeah, but the driving surface is what we're going to.
Yeah, that you actually drive
okay.
on. Yep.
Okay, well, it's probably 25 feet. Barely. We have school buses come up there, major.
Well, Shannon, why don't you confirm that width, because otherwise you're going to need a variance.
Okay.
The other, I would just tell you, if you really want to make sure for the place that you're thinking about leaving for, to the nonprofit, I think you probably want to up your easement, make that a little wider than 40, because given the way that winds up there, putting a water line up through there, you're probably going to need more space especially if you have a 25-foot driving surface. Start trying to fit a water line in there, getting around your curves. I think you'd be better off reserving a little bit of more room for your water line. And whether it's just even an additional 15 feet exclusively for the water line or something like that for a future.
Okay.
I think you'll really want to look at that, because it gets really, when you're going up curves like that,
right.
The water lines don't like making lots
Certainly.
of turns.
Well, and I would think that if I were to put water up there, or someone in the future would do it, they'd run it straight.
Yeah, but that's not the easement. That's not what you're given there. I mean, I would agree. I think you would be better off with a straight water line easement that maybe follows that road and maybe goes under it in a couple spots, or comes in on north side and then crosses the road only once. I think you're probably better off for that in the future.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll take a look at that then, because that would be more common sense.
Other questions for the proponents?
Are there other variances, Tanya?
Nope, I think we got most of them that we'll need. As long as we're good with the private access easements versus the dedicated road right-of-ways.
I think so. I think
We'll take a lot of them off the table.
Yeah, I think I don't really see an issue with the private road access easement. If you go to chop the land up any further, you're going to have to dedicate something probably back in there. Depending on how big of lots you're using. I don't know. Anybody else here on the board feel differently? Is there anybody else here to speak to this plat today? Okay. So how do we want to handle this? So they're going to need, do we want to, since we've talked about the variances, do we want to make sure the variances are in place before? So, Roger, you want to make Roger's motion?
Go ahead, Roger.
So,
okay.
You see a problem, Shannon, with having that for the December meeting, the variances?
Yep, I can do that.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Chair, I move we defer to the December meeting.
Okay, moved and seconded, defer to the December meeting so you have the variances that you need at the same time. At that time, we'd also like, confirmation on that road surface. And, you can reserve just that, extra 40 feet or the 40 feet to get up there for a water line, but I think you should look hard at whether you want to reserve a straight water line shot for the purposes of that dedication in the future. Reserve that. Okay. Any other questions staff have or any other comments on the motion? All right. All those in favor of the deferral signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go to next. I think we're on C, preliminary plats of track C1 and C2.
Oh, you're sticking around. Dang it. Getting away that easy.
What do we got here?
So this was back in October 22nd of 24. We granted a variance for him to add another home and leave the remaining house on there. As part of the process, he either had to plat parcel or sell the mobile home that's on there. He has decided to plat the land. I'm creating 2 new lots, track C1 and C2. Also a variance granted back in October not to improve the access road that comes in to serve that lot, C2. It is below 1320 for dead-end road length also. Following through with the variances that were requested with the lot for his home.
Yeah, we already have Bearby Valley Water hooked to the new home as well as the existing, correct? Power, all installed. So basically we're creating that 3-acre lot where the existing home was and then the remaining acreage of that tract, C2, to be with the new home. So.
Questions, comments?
Staff is recommending a note that no further subdivision, track C1 and C2.
That was part of the variance approval process in October.
So we just
To remain on there. That the private access easement and agreement recorded in book 978, page 88, be updated to include track C1 and C2.
that get done?
No, it needs to be done for a final. Yep. Yes.
Questions? Comments? Is there anybody else here today to speak to this plat?
I'll make a motion that we accept and recommendations that the note be added to the plat for no further subdivision, and that the private access easement be recorded in Book 978 with staff recommendations.
Second the motion.
Can I say something? Sure. The no further subdivision would be without widening the existing access.
Yeah, you'd have to improve the existing access.
Okay, but I mean, at some point, 15 years down the road, it could be subdivided if that road was widened.
Correct.
Okay.
It was brought up to county specification.
Yeah.
We usually look at 7 years, so.
Yeah, it's forever, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, they're gonna have to dedicate, you can't do that within 33 feet, it would have to be a 6-foot right-of-way. Right-of-way would have to expand, upgrade would have to.
That sounds like a big job. It was tough enough building a house, so we'll probably just leave it where it is.
Well,
Biggest job is buying it from your neighbor. But.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else, Shannon? I mean, Shannon. Anything else? Tanya? Shannon? You know, Shannon too. All right, then all those in favor of the motion as stated signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Yeah, it passes unanimously. Good luck with it.
All right, thank you.
Go to item 4D, preliminary plat of Lot 1B, Creek Meadows. Like taking one lot and absorbing it into two others. Am I tracking this one?
Yes, yep.
Go ahead, Shannon.
All right, on this one, the neighbors decided to buy the lot in between them, and also so split that land up the way they agreed to. So basically, we're coming to you with a revised plat of the property, which basically added land to each lot. So we verified structures, drain fields, to make sure everything's in compliance with setbacks. So everything in Golden Valley, I mean, you guys are all they're all hooked to Golden Valley water. Previously, roads were actually, at the time the original plat was presented and built, Mike Toohey, I believe, did the road design for all that. I had my survey crew verify road widths and everything according to the plan set and everything, and that all checked. So I think this one's pretty straightforward. So, but the landowner here is also here, one of the landowners, to answer any questions also.
Yeah, it looks straightforward kind of to me. Staff have any specific concerns or?
No, I had Shannon verify all that, the buildings, drain field, and everything to meet that, because that was the requirements of the prior plats, and everything did meet the prior plat requirements.
Good, thank you. Is there anybody else here to speak to this plat today? Any questions for the proponents? Actually, kind of like these, especially where those drainage comes through, because that gives you a little more room on your lot to maybe put an outbuilding or something. It's a little tight with that drainage sometimes. All right, if there's no questions, I'll entertain motions.
Second.
Okay, motion made to present the preliminary plat as presented and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? That passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Going somewhere, Shannon?
Taking a break.
Taking a break. All right, good. Item 4E, Water source plat of lots 1, 2, 3, and well lot of track 9, Sunset subdivision. Yeah, they're coming forward now.
So this was seen on August 11th of 25. This is a Box Elder plat within the Joint Powers Agreement with Meade County. The water's the issue. They don't have drinkable water with a piece off it that's in the system, so we asked them to go back and get some more information, which they have. And I believe you have everything sent to the planning board.
I didn't bring mine.
Okay.
So you
Yep.
have it? Yep. So what we did is you asked for a letter from Dean, from Mid-Continent. We talked to Dean. He says he puts his name all over it, that his letter is already, he signed the testing on the well, and that he verifies that the EPA standards as they said are met. But when we also submitted a letter from the Air Force Base, Ellsworth, saying that the water was usable, clear back in, I believe, 2020, when they designated all the water was good and they weren't going to pay for water anymore, as they were, which we turned in that letter as well. We understand that that is not true. That is not the case. We know that from the testing of the well that is right on the property, Terry Johnson's property. And that well was tested just as recently as February of this year. I believe it's February. And there are 3 different PFAS chemicals that are not acceptable. So we did the research. I talked to Ms. Krebs from the Air Force Base, which she is the one that's handling this, and we also, she said that the Water Tree Downtown, the company that's taking care of all this for the Air Force, and that they have already installed and they have functioning filters for this. And it's this type of stuff, as we discussed last time, we figured that we better make sure that it is able to be removed, and that they've done that, and they have systems right now in place that they remove it. And what she told me is what they have learned is that the system that it takes to remove the bad chemicals, then you have to put in the carbon system behind it. So that cleans up the taste that comes with this other system. And doing that, she says you get a completely clean, passable water. Well, then we decided that, okay, that's all great and dandy, but of course, as you've seen from the last time, Ms. Krebs says that that's a theoretical situation, that it hasn't happened yet, it hasn't been approved, it hasn't been plotted. She says we can't talk to that. But she then goes on to assure us that in the past, this is what they do. They come in and they help us. Or they do it, they have done it however they did it before, if they did it first or somebody else paid for it and then they came in. Terry's not concerned with, of course, as we all would, he would like to see it be paid for afterwards, but that is not an issue. He's willing to put up the money to put in these systems, and we thought it through, and we thought that, of course, I didn't like the idea, and I talked to Ms. Krebs about it, of having these into the homes of whoever, say, would come in there and buy a lot and build a home. And there's only 2 lots that would even be available for homes. The one lot, lot 2, I believe, already has a home onto it. And it's taken care of by the city plot, or the city water, which it's already hooked up to that house that I've designated the house on lot 2, and the shop. So we would leave that alone. The well, that has been proven, and we can prove it again, but it's a good well, except for, of course, it's sitting right next to the monitoring well that they have, right against the county road that's right there next to our well. So we thought that instead of putting it in the houses, it would only make sense to put up a well house right there on top of the well, put the systems in the well house, that way it's transparent. We would have, it's right off the county road. It's accessible to the Air Force, this county. We would have a monitoring system. The filters would have to be checked every month. It's got to be tested. As far as I know, I think it was every 6 months or something that the Air Force makes sure, and we would prove it out. We would build the well house. We would put the lines in. We would install the systems. We would come up to everything that we know would allow us to do this. Finish the road. The road needs to be finished out and this is, obviously, we're not going to put this drawing to Shannon. This is my drawing. He didn't do that, but he has a regular professional plat that shows all this stuff. That's my drawing. So, about across from the house there, that road needs to be finished out. Like I said, Shannon's already drawn all that out, what the road we require. I believe it was a 20-foot top onto it, width onto it. And then I just drew out where the existing well, what it would feed. And right now, it would only feed the shop in Lot 1. And right now, Lot 1, which this is only one lot, so everything is being fed by the city water line. If you want to call it the city water line, I guess it's Box Elder Water District that takes care of that line. So it would actually be taking a burden off of that line, because right now, everything is fed by that line through that 1 meter pit, which I've designated right off the county road there on the entrance road. So we would still have that meter pit. It would feed the shop and it would feed the house, and that would be taken care of. Those lines are in play right now. And then right at the well there's a line that goes across to the other shop that is designated as Lot 1, and that is also fed by the city. But we would abandon that line, use that line from the existing well, and then have to put in another line through the easement down to Lot 3. And, of course, we already turned in the power from the power company that they already have an easement through there, and there's power already to Lot 1 and 2. That's what we're designating right now anyway. And it's readily available on down to Lot 3, and I believe that was turned in last time from the power company. So we were just trying to address this well problem. And the most transparent, best solution that we could come up with is that we have 2 systems in the well house. They're both already in play. They're proven to clean up the water. We'd do the testing after we put it in, and we wouldn't ask for final until we did all of that work. And we would do that at our own expense. So I don't know if that's exactly the way to go about it as far as asking for a temporary approval. That way, I mean, instead of, obviously we had to ask for that, we're not asking for a final approval onto it until we prove it and do it and spend the money. But it's kind of hard to spend any more money than he already has without just getting a temporary, or not a temporary, but a preliminary approval is the word I'm trying to look for. And so that's all we're asking for, and we think that's a great plan because you don't have to have somebody going into their houses. They don't have to be home. They can go there, they can get into that at any time, and the reason that we didn't go with a well pit, which of course would be easier for us and less expensive, is because we didn't want anybody having to walk down steps into a well pit. We wanted to make this so it's absolutely accessible. You walk in, you can take your samples, you can change the filters, and then the testing and all the testing that is required. Ms. Krebs says there is no problem with us finding out who does that for them, which we already have. And that's Water Tree, I guess, downtown Rapid. I went and talked to them. I not only talked to Brad at Water Tree, I also talked to, I believe the gentleman's name was Bill, but he is actually the gentleman that has installed these systems for the Air Force Base already. And he said also that they're looking to take out a bunch of those systems because of the new water lines that's coming in, and that they'd rather use that water any day. But here, and this is what Ms. Krebs says, she says, when that point in time comes, and once again, We're not saying that they're going to pay for any of this. Terry Johnson will put up the money. It'll all be paid for. And if he gets reimbursed, he does. If he doesn't, that's the way life goes. But she said they look at it then, and she was all for the plan. I told her the plan. She thought it would be a good plan because now they do have these systems into personal homes, and it makes it tough because you got to work by their schedule and everything. You know, and who wants somebody coming in their home and changing out filter? I'm sure they deal with it, but we thought it would be way better this way. And then you don't have one system. At first we thought, well, maybe we could just put in one system at that existing well and feed both lots. And that isn't going to work because Lot 3, right now, Terry has no plan. If we get this all taken care of and approved and it does become 3 lots, he has no plans of ever selling Lot 3. There is nothing back there. There probably won't be a building back there for many, many years to come. So we thought it'd be better if you just put in the system in the well house, build the well house, do this all, put in the system, get it proven out to the shop on Lot 1, and that's the only thing it would feed. But we would go ahead and put in both systems so they're in play and they're ready to go, and put in the water line and get all that done up to Lot 3. So it wouldn't be that, oh, we'll do it in some future moment if we ever sell Lot 3. It will be, we'll do it now, and then we'll get it like it should be and get the power to Lot 3 and get the water line to Lot 3 and get the road finished and get the existing well hooked up to the shop on Lot 1. Hope that makes sense to you. And we did a lot of thinking and planning on this, and I've talked to a lot of people, and Water Tree also thought it was a good plan. Easier, better plan than what they have now.
Okay. Staff, any comments on? I mean, there's a lot going on here.
There's a lot going on.
I do have a clarifying question before we get into it. You said is it the shop that's hooked up to the Box Elder water line?
Both shops are, and the house right now.
Okay, so there's sufficient water from Box Elder to feed the house and the shop, both shops, and then, so are you contending then you're cut off Box Elder water?
No, what we're saying is that this Krebs says that if we get approval and it becomes non-hypothetical, then the Air Force has in the past paid for this and installed these systems, and what they would rather see done is that they would go to Box Elder and see if we couldn't just use off the water system to hook up Lot 1 and 3. Because right now it's just all one piece of land. So it's all fed by Box Elder.
So will so is that, I'm not sure I follow it then. So are you? So
if we would get preliminary approval from the county, then we can go to back to Miss Krebs, and then she, since it's not hypothetical anymore, said that she would go first and see about trying to get it hooked up, approval to get it hooked up to Box Elder water system. She said that is what they would do first, and that is what they would like to see.
So is your proposal then, you want to create a well system to serve the existing house and the theoretical Lot 3 house?
No, the existing house will stay fed by the city. We get the one hookup. So the one hookup would still feed all of Lot 2. So the well would not have any part of feeding Lot 2. That is already all hooked up to city water. But we would be able to take off the shop in Lot 1 if the city said, oh, to the Air Force Base, and she said that they would hope that they could get it worked through the city. They'd rather do it the other way, because of course that's what they're trying to do, is get all these systems that they've installed for other people on these wells that don't meet the criteria of, and The EPA, according to Water Tree as well, and everybody we've talked to, all the standards are met for a private well. But we agree that even though the standards are met, we understand your position on these PFAS and that they need to be taken care of. So that is what we're trying to do here. But if we get a preliminary approval, then we can go back to Ms. Krebs and she will say, okay, and she has said this to me, I've talked to her personally, I've got emails from her, that they would rather see it be that the city would provide lot 1, 2, and 3. But if the city said, nope, we're not going to do that, they get one hookup there, that's all, we don't have enough water, then our well is sufficient, but we would need to filter that water. And it can be done, it is being done, it's proven, they have the system in play, they're right all around that area. In fact, she told me of, and I'm sure you know of that there's some area that they're taking these filter systems out of because they've got a new well coming online or something. And so she said as time goes on, if they can get this off of that, might not even be on it. Box Elder might say, okay, we'll give you the water. Or they might not. And then we'd have a water pit for every place just like it has for that one lot right now. But we understand that that's hypothetical without the preliminary approval. But once we get preliminary approval, we move past the hypothetical, and then she can do a lot more. And if she comes to us and says, I can't get it on the city system, then we would put in that system. We're not asking for final approval until we prove everything out, prove that the water's clean, prove that the systems work, and everything's in place, including the road, including the power, including the new water system to Lot 3 and Lot 1 from the original well.
Questions? Mike, looks like you have one.
Been dealing with the government. I haven't been dealing with the federal government for a long time, sir. I think you're taking a great leap of faith.
Well, we're not taking any faith because we don't need the government. We're willing to pay for this for ourselves.
Then basically the question I would have is that if we give preliminary approval, are we going to be on the hook for anything? Because it sounds like I don't know if the government's going to follow through.
That is why we're doing it the way we are, because you'd be on the hook for nothing. We'd have to prove out everything. We would once again have the well tested after we got the systems put in place. And then we'd have the well tested, which is going to show what it's already shown, that the PFAS are there. Mm-hmm. And then you put it through the system, and then we'd have to pay for a test to each one of the systems on the other side of it that proves it's cleaned up.
Yes, sir.
At our cost. And then we have to monitor that system.
So we're looking at a lot of legacy costs attached to this, and your well share agreement basically says that these costs will be shared between the people who are going to be working with that particular well, correct?
Except for the initial cost. The well share agreement that's in place right now that was turned in would have to be redone.
Yes.
They would not be, Terry would take the initial cost, and he would, if he doesn't recoup that, he doesn't recoup it. That is okay with him. But he would take all the costs to do that. We've already checked into the costs. We know how much this costs. Mm-hmm. He has the money. He has the funding. Mm-hmm. He is capable. And then that sets it off to where it becomes reasonable for the people that buy the lot, because the money that they're paying for the wells, for their water, which would just be a monthly fee, would be sufficient that they don't have to pay back. So then the money can be put away like it is in any well share agreement, mm-hmm. so it can pay for these
improvements and everything else.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be, it would all be new, so there shouldn't be any cost for a while. That should give us enough leadway to make sure. And if it came down to it, I don't think there'd be any problem of Terry putting into a certain amount to back that up as far as into an account, so they would start off not at zero. So we can make sure that their monthly payments will cover what it is. And we've looked into those, and it's not cheap, but it's not super expensive, these systems that they put in. Mm-hmm. And we know the cost of monitoring them. We know the cost of taking the tests and the tests that are required after the fact. But this makes it so much easier to monitor that. It's so much more transparent. Mm-hmm. You guys would have access at any time you wanted it to make sure. And we would have to keep that up by the month, make sure that it's monitored. We would put a person in place for that. Like I said, I've talked to Ms. Krebs, I've talked to everybody involved, I've talked to Water Tree, I've talked to Dean at Mid-Continent, and everybody thought it was a well thought out plan. And it's a lot better than what just the Air Force has been doing by placing these systems right into somebody's personal home.
I have a couple questions. Can we go back to that map yeah. So there's an existing well there, correct? You just made mention about testing in the water in the future of that well. So I'm a little lost. Why hasn't there been a water test done now, or did I miss that?
That was turned in before the last meeting.
Okay.
And it passed, as I said. Dean will stand behind that. He says for a private well, it has passed every state EPA standard.
And we do have verification of all this, Tanya. And then what about, he keeps referring over to Ms. Krebs from the Air Force. Do we have anything from Ms. Krebs at the Air Force?
We do have the letter from her.
The applicant has one, but I do not have one.
I think we need to have that.
Did I not turn that in?
You have one, but the county doesn't have one.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I did turn in our letter from Ms. Krebs. So there is one, but it's not addressed specifically to you, as I understand it, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we need that.
Okay.
We need some verification from her, basically. And
And
then my next question is, so currently, or in the future, the well house would be serving lot 2, lot 1.
1 and 3.
1 and 3, okay. And you made mention of charging people for the shared well. To the current folks that are using it, correct?
There is no current, it's all fed by the city.
Okay.
And there is no line out. These lots
Okay.
are not, they're just one lot now. This is all hypothetical.
Okay.
Oh, that's,
He's trying to subdivide it into 3 lots.
Right. Right.
So we would take a burden off of, right now, if this was all approved, the city would actually be having to supply less water because it would only be supplying the lot 2 shop in the house. That's it. Right now, it could supply however many buildings Terry puts up. He's already got a shot on lot 1, but you remember, it's all one lot now.
Right.
So we would be taking some burden off the city, putting it onto the well, which the well has been proven out. We turned in that paperwork, and we had the well tested, and it passed everything, but it doesn't, and we don't really understand the Air Force saying that it's all good to use. We have a letter that is right from the Air Force that says it's all good, that we can use this, and they quit paying for this water. But it's not that way, because it's not good. That monitor well that's right next to our well is showing that it still has this unacceptable level of PFAS. So what they do is, this has already happened in other spots. The Air Force says, okay, so since these PFAS levels aren't, we'll put in this system and they pay for it.
Right.
And so that's what they've that's what they've done in the past.
So Tanya, what is recommendation from your end? Yeah. Because I think there's too many moving pieces at this point.
So my understanding is Box Elder supplies 1 tap for the existing lot that's there. For me to issue building permits, I have to have a water source.
Right.
And I have to have, if you wanted a well, you have to have 9 acres or more. So I reviewed the plat and said they don't have sufficient water to adhere to Meade County ordinances for building permits. So Box Elder sent the plat to me that their board needs approval that they could use the existing well to serve lots 1 and 2, and Box Elder would remain to serve lot 2, the existing home.
And
And they would move forward with their plating process.
the tracking is, this is within Box Elder's extraterritorial jurisdiction. They preliminarily, it's my understanding, approved the plats.
Yes.
But the county's not going to give them building permits for the extra lots based on the water issue. I mean, it would seem to make a lot more sense if Box Elder said, we approve the plats and we'll give you the water sources, which, I mean, I don't understand Box Elder's approach to this. Why Box Elder just doesn't say, well, we'll give you 2 more taps.
Well, they haven't been approached because, as I said, Ms. Krebs says this is hypothetical.
Well,
Until we get something that isn't hypothetical and we can move forward, then she said, to me personally, and I don't know if it's in that letter, I don't have it in front of me, but she said that they would try and and then they could go forward to the city, and then if the city gave them the taps, it's golden.
Yeah, it's like
but we can't move forward until we get rid of this hypothetical
deal.
Right, and then the feds. It's because the feds will subsidize it.
And the one thing that we want to stress is that we'll do this with our own money so that we don't have any hypothetical situations. And so we can prove it out. We're not going to come back and ask for final. If the water doesn't test out, and we just threw a bunch of money away if these filter systems don't work. But I've been assured that they're already in play and they work. They're right in taking out the same water.
So
and that's from the Air Force.
I'm a little confused. So is Dean's position is it meets the requirements, but is Dean also saying there's no PFAS in your well?
No, he's saying it meets the requirements.
Right, he's saying it meets the requirements, though there is PFAS there because there's no requirements for the individual private wells.
Or PFAS.
You're right, but we
and
all know
the EPA standard has no, they haven't addressed this yet. Dean says that legislation is coming.
Yes, yeah.
But it isn't. So, but we're not here screaming that, why can't we do this? Because we've been told that that we can use our own well.
Yeah.
So we're trying to work with the county and the Air Force and everybody else so we can do this. We're not asking anybody for anything other than just a preliminary approval, and if we don't make this work and it doesn't test out, then you don't give us final approval.
It's a difficult situation for us too because we're not big fans of chopping up lots on private wells to begin with, and then this is a fairly complicated system on top of it that we don't, you're going to turn around, or Mr. Johnson's going to turn around and sell lots to people that we don't have any idea whether they're going to be able to properly monitor or even understand. It's fairly complex.
Well, they don't have to. That has to be on the burden of what we put in play.
Yeah.
We're not asking, we would never ask the homeowners because that's why we don't want to put it in their houses. That way it is transparent to the county. And those records will be transparent. And it has to be monitored. We're trying to alleviate any issues with liability. Terry Johnson doesn't want any liability either. If this system doesn't clean up the water, which they assure us it will, otherwise he wouldn't be willing to put the money for it, then it doesn't. And then there's no way we can come back here and say, well, didn't work out.
Yeah, but...
And then can you still give us final?
Yeah, it's not the county's problem. The county doesn't have a monitoring system to monitor private wells once the
Well, we would run one.
Yeah, but I don't know who...
And we would answer to the government.
Yeah, well...
And she's already said that. And we have to go through their testing facilities because they are the ones that... Water Tree doesn't test for this either. This is outsourced. So that would all have to be in play.
They're looking that we approve his water system so they can go ahead with their preliminary final plat.
All right, so...
So they don't feel it's right for them to approve platting, and then I deny building permits because there's no water to them.
Fair enough.
And my understanding is Box Elder does not have the water to supply 2 additional taps.
Yeah, we can't do preliminary. Right. Water. No. And in
No, 'cause
fact,
it does not exist.
basically they're asking us to grant variances to the building permits before the building permits are in front of us. So, yeah, this is my position. I wouldn't give a variance for the situation because I've done enough with water systems that this testing and follow-up on these complicated systems take a lot of people's attention, even the people that live there, because I even see these on small systems where you got 20, 30 houses where you have to put easements in place and have guaranteed contracts and all these other things to get things done. So it's a terrible deal because the Air Force has caused this issue. And then they jackpot you a bit on how, kind of the chicken and egg, like Mike said. But we don't have the mechanism to check up on you, make sure that the people that are pulling that water, that the system's working. Now, I get what you're saying is that you might not even need that system because if it becomes a probable, the Air Force might step in and cut a deal with Box Elder. But I can't. I don't know how you guarantee that. So, I mean, that's...
Well, the guarantee is that we're willing to do it.
I understand, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you, willing to make a big investment to make it work. But my concern is it's just not going to work long term. That's my thoughts on it. I don't know if anybody else...
But the Air Force has said that they will... Ms. Krebs has been nothing but helpful, and they are really backed against the wall. Because we have the proof. And how do you stop us based upon something that we did not do? We got an existing well in place. There shouldn't be an issue. If those PFAS weren't in that water, this wouldn't be a discussion. We didn't put the PFAS there. We're trying to work with the county and everybody else involved. And we've come up with a better plan, I believe, than the Air Force itself has, putting this system inside of people's personal homes. So, you get stopped from dividing this up. It's just a box of worms that we don't want to get into. We're not the type of people that want to try and sue the government or anybody else. We're trying to work with them, and these systems are already in place and they work. I mean, Water Tree's not lying. The government's not lying.
Do we have anything from Water Tree? Was anything submitted? I guess I'm just looking at more than...
I understand your concerns, and I'm more than willing to provide further information from Water Tree and the people that installed it. I have talked to these people, and they will verify everything that I'm saying. And I am sorry I didn't get that verification. I tried to get it from Brad, and Brad's a super busy guy, and he's like, we'll get it to you.
Yeah,
but they didn't get it in time for the submittal. But we are more than willing to take the time to get all that, and I can go back to Ms. Krebs and explain the situation to her as well, and I can get something from her. Something further.
Let me ask, is there anybody else here to speak to this item today? All right. Then, any other questions? All right. So, anybody want to make a motion?
I just have one stupid question. I'm not sure I understood this part. Box Elder currently feeds one tap, and in dividing the property, Box Elder is unwilling to feed 3 taps.
I don't know their water system, their pressures and everything. That's Box Elder's water system. I could get a letter from Box Elder saying that they won't serve anymore if you like.
I think everything that we're talking about in many of the questions, whatever documentation, we need to be solid on documentation.
Exactly.
And I think it seems to me first we look to Box Elder on their provision, and then I'm a little concerned that Ellsworth is not taking ownership of this as well.
In their letter, they take ownership, but they just say that since it's hypothetical, but they say this is what we've done and this is what we've done in the past. So they're saying this is what we will do, but yet they're saying we can't say that we will do it until you guys get some kind of a preliminary stuff from the county, or
Right. But
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think what we're saying though is
You need more
that's not our
documentation.
problem. It's their problem.
I understand that, but it's also,
All right.
we
so
have to come to you.
We have other stuff on the agenda.
Right.
We're done.
Okay.
You're repeating yourself multiple times.
All right.
So we just have to move on. So either we get a motion or you guys can request more information. I'm frustrated. If Box Elder's going to let them have 3 lots, they should just give them 3 taps, period. And frankly, you can tell Box Elder from now on, my position is if they're not going to give them the extra taps, then I'm not going to support anything on a well. There seems to be no reason why a city with a water line right there is pushing people to use their private wells, especially when they know they're contaminated. I mean, I just find it ridiculous. But if I'm going to be against you, sir, for the sole reason that if I let you do it, I'm going to have somebody else come in and make the same issue, and then Box Elder's going to put us in the same jackpot right when your neighbors come and do the same thing. I appreciate you here from Mr. Johnson. If I was Mr. Johnson, I'd be very frustrated. They shouldn't make you jump through all kinds of hoops. They should just step up and deal with it. But I have to worry about the people who are going to end up in those lots, and I know how complicated these systems are, and I know people who buy houses do not comprehend the extra cost and issues associated with just turning on the tap. So, but I'm frustrated with Box Elder. So that's my position. I mean, I'm one vote. The rest of the board wants to ask more information. Then I think you should be specific as to the information you want from this gentleman so he doesn't have to come back again. What I don't want to do is just have you coming back and it's more and more and more just to lose eventually. So if we have a majority of the board that thinks we're just not going to give it in this situation, I would recommend we don't waste this gentleman's time by having him chase a bunch of more information.
So the question before us is whether or not to allow water source to move forward with the replat of his property. That's the question before us. Okay. Move we deny that request.
I would second that.
Discussion on the motion. I've stated my piece. I find it incredibly frustrating that the federal government's jammed you up this way. But I'm not comfortable that we don't have the monitoring system to make sure it's done. So that's my comment on it. Other discussion? Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
Yep. So I would like, unless the board disagrees with me, I'd like a clear message sent to Box Elder not to send us these again. It's either if they get water hookups, they're going to need good, clean water that's outside this PFAS. I mean, does the board agree?
I'd second that.
Agreed.
Okay. No sense making somebody jump through all these hoops again. Go on to the next issue. Form of intent, Daniel West, new driveway approach off of 220.
He was unable to make it here from Colorado, so I said I would step up and just ask the question if a replat is allowed or not allowed for Lot 23 of AR Ranches. The original plat has a statement on 8 that no driveways, no access to any lot will be offered along 139th Place or 220th, except for the through road access points of Riata Loop. He bought a lot that has a lot of drainage on it.
Yeah, I did.
Yep. He came in, he was here last month, and the board had some questions. Where the house to be located, the shop, the septic, and to do a perk test. He has done all those items. The perk test is at 20, I lost my note. Perk test is at 20 minutes per inch is where he had it perked with 5 holes. It's moderate to fast rates with sandy loam soils. The driveway that he's proposing would line up with the mailboxes across the road for AR Ranches. It does meet the site distance requirements for everything. The other option is he would line up with the driveway up here, where this house is on the west side of Riata Loop, up in here, and he would traverse across, and he ended up crossing the creek and realigning the creek to make it to his house. Those are his choices to do. He understands both of them. When he bought the lot, I told him that he can apply for a variance, but I did not know on a variance whether you have a contingency on a plat, it has to be replatted to remove that note. He's still willing to work through either relocating the drainage to the subdivision, or is requesting to replat to add the driveway off of 220th. I don't like the realigning of all the drainage through a subdivision like that. I would support the driveway off of 220th, but I know that's going to be a future collector road, and will become a very busy road. Keeps the drainage as current that feeds that pond, yes. So here's a current aerial. This was taken in April, May of this year. So his lot is in blue. Riata is right here. It's the loop road that comes to the subdivision and comes back out. It's 2 access points on the northwest corner of his lot, and then over on the south.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
And I can't find in the notes why
we let it be platted like that.
Yeah.
That's an image
I
of
just
it.
drove out there yesterday.
That's coming off, that'd be right here, looking this way. Looking east.
I got to admit, I got a little bit of consternation with this because it looks like the HOA is trying to get up and making a decision. I don't know if we want to be a court of appeals for people who don't agree with their HOAs. And to be honest with you, that's my major concern with this. I just drove out there yesterday. I took pictures of it. I can definitely see what the problem is. But then I also see that he bought this land knowing these problems. Buyer beware. He bought into the HOA knowing the HOA had covenants. He acknowledged them. And then with this 220th thing, this is going to come before us again in the future. Do we now start declaring that we're going to have part-time ownership on 220th and how it's evolving or devolving, whether or not it becomes a TIF or stays a private road or becomes a road association? We're putting our finger into a pie here that we're not going to be able to know when it's going to be cooked to perfection. So as much as I sympathize with this guy, I would say I think I don't want to pull the pin on this grenade.
Thoughts, comments? I'm trying to remember it too.
Development, because there's so many, trying to make them all flexible.
Right. And it should have probably never been platted as a lot. It's basically an unusable lot. So there should have been there could have been some rearranging of lot lines to make those lots more accessible for building purposes also.
Yeah, I actually, because when I was looking at this, I was trying to recall, because it kind of surprised me that we didn't flag that as a potential issue.
There's also a retention pond right past where he's planning to build.
Right.
A nice depression.
It's a natural pond, I believe.
Yeah.
You want me to go get you a couple of ducks?
No, I have those already on my lawn. So I just know dealing with drainage a lot, if you move it, it wants to find its way back in.
Yeah,
I just
totally
didn't
agree.
like the idea of moving all that dirt and straight. So basically what he would end up doing, from my understanding, working with his engineer, is this one of these loops would be taken out and he would straighten it all out so they would connect together so he could do one and make a buildable area closer. His buildable area is still going to have to be over here because when you disturb land for a septic system, he has to be undisturbed.
Yeah, so what's his ability to come off Rieta, just not with a variance on it being closer to the intersection than what usually allows? Well, yeah, because usually, you know,
150. I would told him he had to line up with the driveway that's already there.
No, I'm talking about if he came off of the loop off, but he was closer to that intersection than what we get through there.
No, it's still too tight. You have the plat shows all drainage easements. There's not enough room. It's just full of drainage easements. No buildable areas.
So I'm inclined to probably give him the variance as the hookup across. Otherwise, I think it's an unusable lot. But
it has to be a replat because the notes on the plat.
Yeah, I know.
The way I understood it.
I think that's correct. You'd have to do a modification of the plat. I mean, do we?
It's 50 feet.
I mean, do we want to just hold this till this guy can be here?
We can.
I mean, I think that's probably the better way. I don't really want to put it on staff. So rather than us guess, and it'd be nice to. I mean, I don't know how much water those drainages move. I mean, it'd be nice for him to say, okay, here's an engineer who's told me, like, you know, it'd be a massive culvert, or I'd have to have a culvert in there would be sufficient. Because I mean, there must be some drainage work done on that from the development. Yeah, depends on who did it, but so.
I could go back probably if I had something off of 220th with the new stuff that J.D. Hewitt's has.
So, got some other stuff going on here, so I'd recommend we continue it and leave it open. This gentleman can be here. I mean, I'd entertain a motion to that.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we.
Is anybody here to speak to this plat today? Proponent's not here. Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we continue this. Do we want to put a date on it next month?
No.
Okay, just
give this guy some.
It's just a form of intent. There's
there's
no application or anything anyway. So we're just trying to feel if a preliminary plat would be wise or not.
Form of intent, do we?
Yeah, I guess it's not open for action. So
no, it's not open for action.
All right. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Darren Howie subdivision. Okay.
So
what do we got going on, Shannon?
Okay, so this is just another phase. I'm Darren Howie. He's also with us today. Planning on doing what we've done in this general area in the past, which you've seen is some 10-acre parcels. Is going back to being a need for some of the smaller lots. So this is a proposed phase 4. You see the loop section down there in the bottom left. There you go. So this is the preliminary layout. Then the engineer on this one will be Indigo Design, who did the previous ones. And again, everything will be, the water system will be hooked into Bridle Ridge water system, roads built to county specs, same same criteria as all the others to meet Meade County ordinance. So, but we just wanted to get it in front of you guys just to see if there's any, if it brought up any red flags or anything or any concerns that you guys could see. So there's the space in between the road and where the lots start. That's actually it's property that is in Pennington County. So the bottom of those lines is where Meade County, Pennington County line meet. Darren owns that property, has legal access through there for all these lots and for this development, but to make things a lot easier and simple, we just didn't want to even tackle the part in Pennington County at the moment. So just because of the multiple meeting, multiple plats, multiple everything. So,
you know, there's a reason we wanted you to reserve that access easement to get out going north.
Above?
Isn't that an access that we wanted reserved for the future to go north to interconnect some of these roads?
I think that the one that went east and west. Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah, I see. So the one that's coming south. Yep.
Yeah.
So we could look at that.
I think
possibly bring that connection.
I think that's the reason we did it, because he was going to multiply phase it to reserve those access points, so we don't have all these can't get there from here kind of roads. You know, and I don't know how substantial is that drainage to the east if you bring it over from the east at the same time.
Oh, from the one from the east. Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, in that phase 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, we can definitely look at that and work that in the layout. So,
yeah, I mean, it would seem to me, I don't know how good of that road is in Pennington County, but I don't know, Shannon, how good's that road?
That I don't know. That's a question for Darren.
Yeah. Because, you know, I don't know what we're dumping out on, so it would seem to make sense to either take, I'm not saying don't, it makes some sense to go to the south, but it also would make some sense to have access going north and access going east, too.
225th is in the same condition as 224th. Just east of Elk Vale is where, excuse me, we did the 1 acre lots previously.
And I don't know, for water system, for the number of lots, is the water system big enough? Is storage big enough?
Storage and water is big enough. It was rated when we originally drilled it for 400 homes.
And we can provide that.
Yeah, you're going to have to deal with Pennington County just to punch the roads through, correct?
Yes, yep, for the
issues with the Pennington County road guys on this?
Just need approach permits. They may make us asphalt that.
The whole loop or the...
No, just up to the development.
Oh, is it asphalted at all anyway?
Elk Vale is.
Just Elk Vale, okay. So, other thoughts, questions? I mean, it's a form of intent, so I'm sure once we get the more information. You got some drainages through here. I don't know if there's any other drainages that, you know, you haven't studied yet or not. Come through this area.
Phase 4 just has that one up in the corner. It's about the most gentle slope piece of land I've ever built on.
Phase 1, 2, and 3 are complete or built out? Are there houses on most all of those?
Phase 1 is complete. Phase 2, we're putting in power right now. Phase 3, we have not started. But the 1 acre lots we have east of Elk Vale on 224th are almost completely sold out. We have 3 left that aren't under permit.
And Talbot, you're saying to come off of the cul-de-sac on Swell Court on this one here, and then come down, or just come all the way down
Well,
from
yeah, but
224
no, I mean, I would probably just do it from
this
the,
one?
Yeah, the one that's immediately. Well, I'd kind of like to see them from both. Directly going up to the north to the first road, and then coming out to the east. So they got a shot out to Elk Vale too.
When we originally looked at that first chunk, Troy wanted the minimum amount of houses entering onto Elk Vale. He didn't want any more approaches there than need be.
Well, but it's not a. Is that a private drive? Publicly dedicated.
All the courts,
Yeah,
those are all private.
we did those all. It's all private.
They're public right
No,
of
they're
ways.
dedicated.
Right away,
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
public right of ways,
Yeah.
just privately maintained.
Phase two.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Phase two. Phase three is not in yet, but. Yeah, those were dedicated.
Yeah, I was thinking that we had this long conversation on, like, reserving these right of ways, so all these phases could get interconnected. Other thoughts or concerns? Yeah, 20 years from now.
Mr. West, is to make sure we have usable lots here and that we have buildable with all the drainage that you got running through here. Lot 3, Block 3, you know, sure that they don't want to connect on the Swell Court. That's in future phases, but
Mm-hmm.
Tell me. I think it's out there. Okay, other questions, comments? I mean, this is, you know, it's pretty basic what you're showing us, but, I mean, the water is concerned, and then the roads and the access are the biggest concerns I see. If there's no other real drainage, that's usually something I'm trying to flag early on, is making sure that we have drainage. But, yeah, it looks like those corner lots, if that's the drainage there, you know, generally like to show internal building envelopes for that drainage on those smaller lots. Those are a little bit bigger, it looks like, to deal with that drainage, so you're probably fine. But, you know, septic and all. You haven't done any geotech. You don't expect any different soils from the stuff you've already done, I'm assuming?
Correct.
Okay.
Retired military. I'm glad.
Yeah.
So phase one is done. So speaking of drainage, is right on top of the drainage into that cul-de-sac coming from the north. Is that?
You moved that drainage from the north, didn't you?
Yes. We diverted that on phase one.
In phase two, you realigned that drainage too, because we had an issue with it as it swung in and came across. I remember talking about that. All right, well, or in the process maybe of doing that, because you're saying the road isn't done there yet?
No, the road's done. Power's getting put in. You
Power.
should be seeing phase two come back as a final here pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's moved around some of that drainage.
Okay.
Called that out before. Okay. Other comments? Anybody else here to speak to this form of intent today? Do you have any other questions for us? Okay.
Nope.
All right, hopefully that helps a little bit. Would like to see something from Pennington County as any standards or specs are going to make you do, though, when you bring it forward, so we know exactly what Pennington County.
Just for the approach permits?
Yeah, for what you need there. I mean, those are interconnecting roads, and I don't know what they're going to want, but they're going to feed into us, so we should probably know how you're connecting there.
Sounds good.
I'm assuming down there at those connections, you're going to put your mailbox, joint mailboxes and stuff. So that should probably be called out so we know that's being dealt with. Because you're not going to want to put the mailbox pull-offs up in the Meade County somewhere. So that might take like an easement or some kind of commitment from us if we can't roll in the survey, to include that extra lot.
Off of 225th?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because they're going to need a mailbox location, probably a bus pull-off. And they're going to, I mean, we'd require those, but they're probably, neither the bus nor the mail guy is going to want to drive up into Meade County to get to those. So you're going to have to figure that out and show us how you're answering that too. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else? All right, good luck.
Thanks.
Okay, go to the next form of intent. Mr. Haig, improve section line right of way to be constructed. I know there's some people here to speak to these different items today. I'm not going to join these items together, so we're going to deal with the section line issue first. So if there's people here to speak to the section line, I want your comments restricted to the section line first. Okay, let's start with this section line. Go ahead, whoever. You guys can rock, paper, scissors, or do whatever.
I'm Kent Haig. I'm one of the owners of Elk Creek Meadows, Golden Valley subdivision. Actually the Golden Valley Water Company also, but then my brother Brian is also a co-owner. And a while back, you may have remembered, you may have met Anthony once. We talked about him becoming, or how he has come on, and he's been directed to push this thing forward. One of the things that we are doing, according to that, is to request a build out of the section line. It's less than a half a mile over from Crested Wheat over to Reichard Road. I know the county has mentioned more than a few times that, for a number of years, that a third egress would be strongly encouraged. So what we're going to do is just do it. And we've talked to the owner. He's been remarkably cooperative. But Anthony, I'll give it over to you.
Yes, so this is just a petition to open the section line. When the Hags bought the subdivision in 2008, there was already some gravel base there, and there's already a cattle fence on the south side of that section line, and so we'd just be improving that, propose to improve that to county specs, and give another exit at the northwest end of the subdivision to complement the existing two ingress egresses, one on the east side and then one on the south side. So gives a good external circulation in and out of the subdivision. And then that's the area to the north where there would be any potential build out, so that alleviates some of the stress and pressure on the existing roads in the subdivision.
Yeah, so the procedure for the county is for the planning board to provide any recommendations. This is basically a request to improve the section line. I think it's because there's a 2-track trail down it. It's technically open already, but just open it and improve the section line. I don't know if anybody's got any specific comments on it. We have consistently encouraged perhaps building this out. Long term makes the best sense. would also allow them to bring construction traffic maybe in that way and keep it off the subdivision road. I just for the planning board's information, the gentleman did talk to both Mr. Liggett and I about it a bit. There was some discussion about, or at least they had talked to the landowner about potentially doing cattle guards on each end. I've thought about that since they recommended. I don't. Doesn't make sense to me to have open range roads this close to residential areas. So I tend to think that they should probably just do fencing along the section line and improve the roads that way. You can tell landowner that's kind of, I'm one commissioner, but that I just don't see, open range roads in this type of area, period. We don't have a lot of open range roads in the entire county, which is weird. But that's my initial thought. But I wanted, in case anybody had any comments on that cattle guards issue.
I would agree. Question for Tanya. So this would be the 66-foot right-of-way on the section line, or is that what would apply?
Yes.
Yeah. Generally, in these situations, they'd fence it at the 66 foot.
Right.
That'd be part of the project cost, part of their improvement cost to get it done. And is the idea to make it gravel or to be a gravel base?
Yeah, full county spec, yes.
Yeah. Thoughts? I know it's been a long day already. I thought this was going to be a shorter meeting, but according to that clock, it's only 3 o'clock, so we're good. No, well then why does my computer say 4?
Your computer hasn't updated.
Yeah, I guess my computer hasn't updated. I thought this day was going longer. I'll stop moving it so fast. So,
So you're familiar then with the procedures, improving the section line right away? And, yes. Well, just speaking for myself, I'm encouraged to see you here and seeing movement toward making this happen.
Thank you.
Have anything to add?
okay, let me ask if there's anybody else here who wants to speak just to the section line question. Okay, so I'm going to start with the gentleman in the back because he raised his hand first. You have to come up, sir. You can use the mic, please. If one of you could give him a seat, so I appreciate it. You could state who you are and...
I'm Dean Roman, and I live on 1920 Crested Wheat, which is right smack on the intersection where that gravel road would be coming out. It'd be coming right out of the back of my yard. My concerns are the dust control. I mean, that it's going to create me and stuff, and basically that's it. And the water drainage, because I know there's a lot of water comes across through that pasture, is that's taking, that drainage is also taken care of.
Okay.
All I've got.
All right, yeah, so part of the design would generally include any drainage and culvert necessary to address those issues and make sure the water is properly directed. The plan will, if they're allowed to open it up, will have to pass through county and county road department's approval process. So, if you have any like pictures or documentations on some of that drainage, it doesn't hurt to send it forward so we have it for record, so we can make sure it's addressed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Could I have the
I'm not sure I understand. You can sit there.
All right, I just don't want to have a dual conversation.
Yeah, no, you can talk and then...
Okay, yeah. We're actually somewhat...
Identify yourself for the
Oh,
record.
I'm sorry. I'm so used to doing that. I'm Bob Zamora, the president of the Golden Valley Homeowners Association. And, you know, at first look, you know, we're encouraged to see this. But we're more concerned, as you know, the Golden Valley Homeowners Association has finished the survey, we're preparing our petition for a road district. And so we're concerned about the connection end of this work, and we would like to see it once we get to Crested Wheat Road. Once we get to the section line, we would like to see things go north behind Dean Roman, who just spoke, behind his house, and then connect up with the road, because we've got a situation with both Dean Roman and Bruce Hinson, who own homes along the unimproved path up into the subdivision there, and we don't have that property belongs to this gentleman here, and we've got their approaches to their homes, even though they're members of the Golden Valley Homeowners Association. Their approaches to their homes are on a private road, okay. And their mailing addresses are actually Crested Wheat Road. So we would like to be able to see being able to perhaps entertain putting that short private drive as part of the Golden Valley Road District, and then have Elk Creek Properties go ahead and work around us, but still have that. We would still maintain that road connection there, because it's unimproved. Their short section of road there is gravel right now. It was never finished by the Golden Valley, the previous developer. Okay. So we've got a section of road there. We've got Crested Wheat that is paved, and then we've got a short section of gravel. And we don't have the financial wherewithal at this point to improve that, to do anything with it. But we would like to have that that section is included in our road district. All four of the lots on that intersection are included in the road district petition.
Okay, so just so the record's correct and I understand you, is you don't have a problem with opening the section line.
I don't have a problem with opening the section.
Your only concern is that
the only concern is how it gets into the homeowners association, and we're willing to work around it so that we can get rid of this odd private drive between two homes that belong to Golden Valley Homeowners Association.
So, is it your contention that it shouldn't line up with Crested Wheat?
I'm sorry?
You're not contending that it shouldn't line up with Crested Wheat, are you?
I'm sorry.
Well, the section line, the Rickard Road, where we open up to Rickard Road, that's going to be just an extension of Crested Wheat.
Yeah, that is Crested Wheat. I'm only concerned about the part of Crested Wheat that is in Golden Valley Homeowners Association and is already dedicated right away. But we don't want the final connection to go directly into that and then go north on what is proposed to be Doubletree Drive. We would like it to just go around the backside so that we can join up our homeowners' driveways and stuff.
Okay, so that's a bit beyond our scope here today, but the actual opening of the section line.
This is in support of opening the section line, provided that we can work through those issues.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else from the audience wants to speak to the opening of the section line and improving of the section line? You've already talked, but I'll give you 30 seconds if you thought of something new to add.
What they brought up, that would have, I'm Dean Roman again, that would have traffic going behind my house road, so I'd have a road all the way around my house end up. That's not a good situation.
Well, and frankly, all we're really talking about here is that section of the section line they're asking to be open and improved. So,
just to go north, though, correct?
To go west.
To go west, right?
Yeah.
But he was talking about the section behind me to go.
I understand that, and that's not been asked to be opened or improved.
Correct.
So, I mean, our decision.
That would not be good for me. It's
yeah.
like having
now, if they come in
around my house.
If they come in with a plat and want to talk about access points, then that would be the appropriate time to talk about.
Okay. Thank you.
So, okay. Other questions or comments? You've heard from a couple of people out there. Does anybody have any comments?
Mr. Hagg, can I ask why you wish to do this?
Yes. In our comprehensive plan, one of our next expansion is on either side of the road. You can see there going straight north, and our ownership goes goes through that 40, which contains the lots, and then it continues north up to the top of that next 40. And ever since we've proposed that, it's been a concern of the county and certainly of the HOA to be able to divert some of the traffic in and out that goes in and out of the area. One thing we will be able to enjoy is, or rather one of the benefits I should say, is that the heavy truck traffic for any construction going up there, cement trucks, sheetrock trucks, whatever, will be going over this gravel road from off of Reichert instead of all the way through the paved roads of the subdivision.
So this is basically a step in the process of you completing your comprehensive plan for the development of the TIF area?
We have another alternative that is available on the far east side, but this is the one that we've been encouraged to pursue by the county, and it makes a lot of sense because it's a straight shot, and most of the concentration of the homes are on the east half of that section, which contains the subdivision. So, excuse me, the west half, pardon me. And therefore, if it's thought to be a third emergency egress, it makes more sense there because it will cross a completely separate bridge across Elk Creek, and it will also provide an either-or exit, meaning you can continue west and head down and head south along between Section 9 and Section 10 there, or you can proceed north to Reichert Road. So in the case of potential flooding, those type of things, it does seem to be the logical place.
Okay. And you've already confirmed that the bridge itself can support the weight of the heavy equipment and stuff like that, so there's not going to be any problems with weight limits or anything?
Anything we build, yes, number one, yeah, but anything we build will be able to handle it. And another, and I guess it predates most of these, but in 2019, we did build a county bridge as part of the tax increment district. It's a state-of-the-art bridge which increased the capacity, the flow capacity, and weight bearing and all that thing. So it's very new bridge.
I think the question was probably more between Section 9 and 8. That bridge, I don't think there's any issues with that bridge. It's not on our watch list. And as I said, Commissioner Liggett, who is the liaison for the roads, was at the meeting where we met with them, where they kind of pitched this to us ahead of time, kind of this layout. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's an issue. I do like this option versus the going to the east, because one of the problems we have with 139th is it dead ends going north, and this, by going west, you actually have a another north and south route out, rather than dumping a bunch more on 139, where if we got an issue with 139, we're just going to be jammed up that much worse.
No, I see it definitely more towards economic development progress for that area for future development. Yeah. So that's fine by me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be an issue with that. It's actually, that road is kind of the north-south connector road as you go north up through there. That goes. Yeah. Wide enough and all that. Yeah, I don't perceive an issue. Rich didn't perceive an issue. So, did you want to come up and speak to this, sir? Yeah. It's a good bridge. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else from the audience? Seeing none. So it's up to us. It's not, we're not the final call on this, but this is kind of like a building code variance where we've given any recommendations or the commission. We could make a motion that we recommend we approve it, subject to, of course, full review. I brought up that cattle guard question. I don't know if anybody's got comments on that. Yeah, I think that's what kind of was driving it from what Mr. Haig told me, is that they kind of expressed a preference, but you can accomplish it with fences and gates too. I'm just cattle guards on heavily traveled roads create a wealth of problems. So. Yeah, I think that was their kind of inquiry. The landowner kind of thought the cattle guards should work. Is that where that?
Yeah, we specifically talked about cattle guards in each end, and he seemed to condone that and understand it. Yeah. Yes. I said that's probably how we would do it. He goes, yeah, that should work. But we did not specifically discuss fencing both sides of the road. But that's has a lot of sense to it. Also, with gates, my biggest effort, I think, or a concern, or what I was trying to do is preserve as much free flow of his herds as possible. However, having the gate with a fence line, there's already a fence line running along what will be the north side of that road. So, and he has a gate for that. So it's consistent with what he did there, and it's a 4-wire barbed wire fence. And I'm going to be talking to him here in the next couple of days and talk to him about what we've discussed today too.
Yeah. Okay. So, any action recommendations? Like I said, the commission will be looking for just recommendations.
I recommend we approve it with the conditions you set forth.
Did you have a comment, Tanya?
I did.
Okay, go ahead.
Form of intent, can we do a recommendation?
Well, I think it's non-binding.
Okay.
The process just calls for us to make recommendations. So I think we can do it by resolution to make sure that the majority board supports it. So which recommendations would you want to make? To open it up and allow the project to go forward?
Correct.
Yeah. Any comments on the cattle guards, or just have them look at it like?
I ain't a rancher. I eat hamburgers. I don't know how they get there.
And there's already an existing fence there.
On the north.
Yes, along what will be the north side of the road.
Don't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Right. Yeah. It's more. He's still got to go do all this stuff. It's more. The reason the commission wants planning is because the commission might be looking at it going, oh yeah, no issue, but the planning people might know if there's been conversation of somebody doing a big subdivision close by or something else with the land. So when people are opening it up, they want to run it by plan.
One of the reasons for my recommendation, is because I remember the March meeting that happened with the right-of-way and access going through the subdivision and the phases and stuff. So to me, this kind of solves 3 problems with one solution.
Yep. I agree. I like having the third exit. I like this exit better than you guys going back to the east.
I support the exit. That's a very good thing. I'm questioning whether or not we should or need to make a recommendation when it's a form of intent. It's a non-binding, and I don't recall making any motions on form of intents before.
Yeah, it's listed, but if you look at the procedures to improve the section line, it says petitioner must submit form of intent to the planning board for comments and recommendations for the improved area. So I think the motion it's non-binding motion. It's just contains our comments. So I think you make it that way. I think that's a cleaner way to do it. Okay? There's been a motion made. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion on the motion. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And Roger, your point of order is well taken. It's a bit unusual for form of intent, but this is not our usual form of intent.
Yeah.
I think it's just the form of intent sometimes is used as a catch-all for things that that are non-binding. So,
Thank you.
all right, so let's go to the easy one on this. We'll go to the water. So,
So
now, my understanding, you guys are just presenting. This isn't part of a requirement for the county to present. Just the fact that the water has been holding this development up. And I'm gonna, Anthony, I'll give you about 10 minutes to kind of just lay it out between you and Kent. But I don't want to get into, so I don't need a whole history here. I just tell us what's going on.
Okay, so there's 114 active users, and there's 13 inactive users. In other words, they have a tap. They haven't started using water yet. So according to Ordinance 33, for 127 households with 900 gallons per household would require 114,300 gallons. So there's currently 3 storage tanks, 31,000 gallons each, which is a total of 93,000 gallons. So there's currently, by the Ordinance 33 definition, a deficiency of water storage of just over 20,000 gallons. So that has led us to looking at a solution to that. And in looking at a solution to that, I don't know if this was in your packet, the site plan, but it's a good illustration of the current water storage tanks. Did nobody get that? I've got copies if that's allowed. Okay. So, just illustrates the current status quo of the water tanks relative to that section line. So it's up against that north-south section line, and when you measure off 33 feet, yeah, you could probably zoom in. We see that one of the tanks is fully in the 66-foot right-of-way, and then about a third of the pump house is in there, and that's how it's been for nearly 20 years. So what we're proposing, because the deficiency is to build a new water storage, groundwater storage, that would bring that up to better than the Ordinance 33 minimum requirements, and then locate that far enough away from the section line to give some setback, but it's a very tight utility lot. So what we're working with the county on is to provide a setback on both sides, but one that is would require a variance, so that we could have a sufficient diameter tank, that if that section line going north-south ever got opened, that we'd be able to clear all encumbrances, and not jeopardize the water storage. So that's why looking at doing a 25 diameter tank, and then there's a kind of rectangle just south of that tank, and that is a proposed water treatment system to address some of the water quality concerns and issues that the residents have experienced. So this well is in the Inyacara, so the Inyacara does have seasonally experienced radionuclides. So what we would do is propose, it doesn't have that now. We've done a big water quality test, and and tested all that, but we would put something in place that would address any of the concerns that they've had, plus that potential concern of seasonal radium in the well, alpha radium in the well. So, so that those two items would then be sized as well, so that in the pump house that's also within the right of way, there's boosters, so they could be there'd be enough room in that building that we could relocate them there, as well as the chlorine closet. So that way everything could be cleaned up in the event that section line's opened. That's what I have. Yeah, I kept it to 5 minutes.
Yeah, good. One of the, we had a conversation about this a couple days before you were, the 25-foot tank. Can you just advise the board why the 25-foot diameter tank?
Right.
How that comes into play.
Right. So that'll give us an initial build out 120,000 gallons. It's a very common number. That's usually like the residential fire flow volume, but it also would allow for expandability, that tank could be expanded in the future with the same foundations. So the foundations would be designed for a larger tank, but the tank that would be put in the first phase would be just the 120,000 gallons, which would meet the requirements, address some of the, if we were to lose those tanks that are in the section line, it would still keep the ground storage requirement within the ordinance.
Go ahead, Ken.
One thing I will add is that we've gotten for several years, we received excellence in water quality awards from DANR. And however, and I talk to most people, they're quite satisfied with the quality of the water, including Mr. Roman that's here. But there are people who do get some brownness or orangeness in their water from time to time, which is, we think, caused by a concentration of silt. So we have increased the flushing frequency of our lines to kind of try to keep things flushed out as much as possible. This new tank will, I think, clean that up quite a bit, but also the ones that are there now do not currently have manways. So we're talking with Midco Diving to get in there and clean them, but we will have to add the manways first, just as a point of information, to clean those tanks as well. It's important to us to also know that we have been in compliance with the Haines Volunteer Fire Department that has this district, but this will up that compliance level to absolutely no special needs to fight fires like tender trucks or anything like that. They'll have significant water capacity with this new facility.
And those tanks were pre-existed to your ownership, I think.
Yes, correct.
So, yeah, it's problematic that the previous developer didn't put that kind of standard in them. The oversight's changed drastically since he did the project 20 years. Which is good, at least for the people out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Questions about these, the numbers or anything for the gentleman?
Basically.
Yes.
And if I recall from what happened in the March meeting, one of the problems was the belief that the current water system as it was back then would not have been adequate in order for you to continue to build out to up to 192 residences, sir. And
I'll let the expert check that, but he's one of the things he did as part of the representation, and he and his company specialize in the designing of municipal water systems. And the taking it from ground up, the aquifer we're in is plentiful and pretty darn good quality. The what we did find is that the pump itself, the system itself, is set at significantly less than full production. So I kind of turned on the light. Well, if it can do more, why not? As soon as it fills the capacity, all it has to do then is basically keep up. So yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of it.
so the short of it is that one of the reasons we're seeing these improvements are for your present development as it is, or how you're going to continue to expand based on your new capacity?
It's necessary for our future expansion, and it's necessary for some currently platted lots. When the ordinance changed in 2022, the changes to Ordinance 33 significantly increased the criteria that some of the lots were actually platted under. So, in order to remedy that, this is also very necessary. But yes, we want to continue our expansion up there. I think we've got a very good reputation there. It's all paved roads, and the price point of the homes is, I would say, however you want to put it, it's probably 500 and up out there. They've got a strong HOA that does a good job at keeping the place up. Absolutely, it's for future expansion, but it will only provide limited expansion. We do intend in the long run to dig another well similar to this, or perhaps all the way to the Madison, but a second one that will provide for any future expansion, and maybe even for a neighbor to the east as well.
You have a question, Mike?
I do. I guess, maybe I missed it, but is there issue with the one tank and the house being?
Oh.
So it's an encumbrance, and so if the section line ever opened, then yeah, that would need to be cleared and vacated, which is kind of the rationale for putting something in place that's even more than the deficiency, because we could lose those poly tanks. And
so this system is built that it could lose that tank without
correct.
Might have to add to it or something.
Yeah. So one of the Ordinance 33 requirements is to have 300 gallons per household for 3 days, and the minimum rationale for that would be if you have one well and the well needs service or there's something wrong, you've got time to react. But 3 days is a bit tight for a well driller to get out there, or a guy with well service equipment to get out there. So, like was discussed in the previous meeting, just meeting the bare minimum may not be the greatest idea. And then with that also having encumbrances that may need to be vacated, we wanted to have everything in place in case that happened. So these are all for resilience.
This tank.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Or capacity.
Well, or future. Yeah, the future growth would serve that too.
Yeah, so these tanks are designed where you can. Depends on how you do the foundation, I suppose.
This proposed is 30 feet. Yeah, 33.
So it can double.
Correct. Yeah, and it's a minimum additional cost to do that. It's a little bit of concrete, so from a monetary standpoint, it's not very large, the provision.
Yeah, so the problem with that section line issue is it's a bit of a kind of unique, because the way those roads got laid out, whether anybody's going to want to build that section line is probably unlikely. Somebody might, and if they do, they're going to have to take them out. More likely that if the neighbors ever do anything with that land, they'll design roads rather than build a road where they're only one. But they need to be realistic. And in fact, if they came in and wanted to improve in those locations, would say no on that. The other thing that I've told them on this tank is they need to move it a little bit further to the east, so there's some room between 33 feet for the section line and
they've got the revised.
Oh, you got the revised, yeah. So
the latest rendering shows an additional 10 feet to the east, which it makes our request for a variance significantly smaller or less.
Yeah, they have to ask for a variance because there's 25 feet from every section line. But a water tank 10 feet from a section line, I'm not really worried about. Utility lots tend to be kind of tight. But they're going to have to bring that forward too. So you should expect to see a variance. I think we're here to provide us some information on what they're already. Unless I'm missing something, guys, tell me.
No, that's correct.
No. We're finding our new strategies make small introductions to certain aspects that are key to our final goal.
Okay. Well, why don't you guys step aside? I think I'm sure we might have some audience members who want to have some comments. So let's get their feedback now, which is better to get their feedback now as a form of intent than when you're showing up here with a bunch of variances. So, you want to start out?
Thank you. I'm Dallas McWilliams. I live at 2040 Doubletree Drive. The well lot, as shown, is across the street and one lot south from where I live, so I can see it from my property. I've got some questions for the proponent, and he's entitled to answer them as he sees fit. I understand, and through further discussion directly with Mr. Haig, he's mentioned about drilling another well potentially to the Madison. Do we know where that might be and or the timeliness of that?
So I don't really want to get in give and take here. I mean, if you want to talk to them out in the hallway and they're willing to talk to you, I'm fine with that. I think they do have an I don't know if you located. I think because you did get a permit, and so the state would probably have information on that too. But we wouldn't keep that until they come to build.
Part of my question about that revolves around should that Madison well be installed and drilled? Would it attach to the existing water source, water lines to feed the neighborhood? Were that to be the case, could that not be the primary, if not sole, water source for our subdivision? That would alleviate a lot of the issues, especially with the section line of the tanks, putting a 30-foot high tank behind a neighbor's home. That's kind of not what we're in this for. But having one well that's out of the way that could suffice to mitigate all of these issues would be most favorable. I know Mr. Haig has put a generator at the well site. It is not hooked up to anything. It's sitting standalone. Natural gas was trenched into it. There is no meter. The generator will not run. And again, we're concerned with the cleaning of the tanks. When that happens, I'm sure that there's going to be sediments that may flow downstream to us. I get sediments routinely in my water as it sits. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. The cleaning of those tanks, we'd like to know when that's going to occur, and the status of that situation. If he would keep us informed, we would greatly appreciate. I understand, and I feel for the fact of having to install manways into those tanks. Would have been good if the expense would have been proffered prior to make that happen. We just want reliable water And I think if he's going to do the Madison, that's my preference as a homeowner to have one system to take care of everything. Thank you much.
Thank you. Anybody else from the audience? Oh. You come on up, ma'am. Well, you know, it's just too tempting.
Got it. They know. Barb Cedar, and I live on Crested Wheat, and that water tank, there was a letter. So all I wanted to really be sure is that the man that lives next door to that place, that you read his letter and understood the impact to his home of having a 32 to 60-foot tank next to his home. So as long as you paid attention to Robert, thank you, letter, I appreciate it. That was my only concern because I didn't hear anybody reference it.
Actually, ma'am, I was going to do that, but I didn't know if there were other people in the audience, and I didn't want to take their thunder away because I'm...
Oh, I apologize.
No, you're fine.
Your thunder.
Okay, anybody else comment?
Anything from staff?
Yeah, I mean, the gentleman asked questions. If you want to take a couple minutes, Kent, to respond to them, I'm not making you. I mean, if you want to go out in the hall and talk them through, I'm comfortable with that too. One thing before you start, that say is the storage issue is part of the regulations, and that's to provide fire suppression. So just adding why it's a good practice to have a second water source. Generally, a second water source doesn't get rid of the storage obligation.
Yeah.
But that's driven a lot by the county regs, not necessarily what the developer wants.
You know, and there's going to the Madison right now, and all it would entail to set up a whole new apparatus, including capacity, is about a $1.6 million endeavor. This provides a much lower cost to provide relatively speaking, immediate ability to do this and to utilize a well that we know is producing regularly and reliably. Therefore, we're just looking for ways to make this system better. With redundant power source, we do have, the gentleman added, we do have the gas hooked up, but we do not have a transfer switch in it yet. One of the folks had a great idea that until there is the transfer switch, which automatically takes it as soon as power for some reason goes off, that the new one, that the power source, the generator, automatically picks up, seamless. Until that time, I'll have, unless there's some reason that it's not possible, which I can't imagine, we'll have the electrician go ahead and hook it up so it can be manually started until that transfer switch is installed. So at least there'll be a solution.
Yeah. Certainly. Anything else you want to add?
No, not at all. We appreciate listening to us and want to do whatever we can to demonstrate confidence in our program.
Okay, so any comments from or questions from the board on the proposals or that might have been generated by comments from the audience?
Oh, I do have one more question. What the timing? What's your intent and the timing of this project?
As soon as possible. And the next steps on this will be final design and engineer's estimate of costs, for which we will bond, because it will take a little bit of time to order the tank and get it everything pulled together. And Anthony may be able to speak more succinctly as to estimated idea of finalized time.
Yeah. So usually once you get a tank ordered, it's about a 90-day turnaround time from the manufacturer. So this would be a 2026 project in that construction season.
Thank you.
One thing I may add to that too, please, is that Under the old ordinance, there is sufficient water to be provided to a few of the places that are platted, but not all the places that are platted but not built. We want this also to be a quick solution, or a much faster solution than waiting for a Madison well, and one for which makes an abundance of sense, and we can bond for. And then upon bonding for it, it's our goal to get, like Silence Holdings LLC has 20 lots that they're trying to plat, and they've been trying to do it for a long time. And for various reasons, we've not been able to provide them the water necessary to do that. With this in the works, and once financial performance is ensured to the county, we hope that they can proceed immediately with their plans.
That was the nature of my question.
And to assuage some of the audiences, the Mr. Robert Mamenga letter, actually only the first 4 paragraphs are addressed to the Meade County planners. The bulk of this letter is to the Meade County commissioners. So there's really not that much he mentioned in the letter, other than the fact, quite frankly, saying, don't go on my property. I guess his property is near or where you're looking at something, you're doing your plans, but that usually falls under the purview of the county sheriff, not the County Planning Commission.
And we want to be a good neighbor, but it is the water supply for the entirety, the existing homes on the other side of the creek to everything we do, and the ones existing on the north side of the creek. It's kind of just a fact of progress, for lack of a better word, but we do want to. Now that we know we have the guidance to proceed, our goal is to meet with Mr. Mamenga. I'll try to get that done yet this week, and visit with him on it. And there's things that we have flexibility on, the color of the tank, for instance, those kind of things. So,
well, sir, I think one of the things we could do to help clear up the line of communications, based on what I saw here in March, is that the Planning Commission obviously has its lane to stay in. We're not the county commissioners. We're not the HOA. We're not a road association. And let's face it, that was a pretty eye-opening experience for my 3rd meeting here on the Planning Commission. So I just want to let you know that we do read what we get, but we obviously try very hard not to overstep our limited, very limited authority and interpretation of the rules and the regulations and the ordinances.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Other questions, comments, thoughts?
One question that had come up was the location. If you were to a second well, would it be in this, would it impact what we're looking at today for space with area?
No, it would be outside the boundaries of the HOA. Just to the north, we anticipate the best place, all things considered, is just to the north of the current subdivision, currently on our land, but it's but very close where it can easily connect into it, which would also be our purpose and our intention, is to have that as a redundant, and probably the primary if it's a Madison, but depending on the production capability. But it'll be, if nothing else, a redundant source, perhaps a primary source, but we intend on keeping the existing system, especially with this new investment in it, as a redundant source as well.
Okay. Other thoughts, comments? All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for coming forward. Good luck on the road. The one thing that would potentially be helpful, Mr. Haig, when you do get that generator hooked up, if you could let staff know when it's connected.
Yeah.
So if people ask questions, we know that it's been connected. You're just waiting for the transfer switch? Is there
Yes, it's supposedly more of a strange duck than one would think. When they did find it, it was a 10-week order, and pretty amazingly expensive for what it is. But Morford Electric thinks
it's the tariffs that are doing it. That's what everybody says. It's the tariffs whenever it's too expensive. So
depends on whose money, I guess.
Yeah.
But Morford Electric thinks he has is able to obtain one that serve the needs. But until then, I'll have him hook it directly so it can be.
Sure. That's a good idea. That way, if we get a big snowstorm causes a disruption, you've got it.
And it's 130 kilowatts, so it's a plenty juice to run it.
All right, so please keep staff informed when you've got some answer there.
Right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank all of you for showing up. I know it's important to have people in a community care about the community and be involved, and I appreciate you showing up. I know everything we do up here you probably don't agree with, but hopefully we provide some guidance and make it a little bit better for you.
We appreciate your help.
Yeah, I think that completes our business. I've been trying to update my clock on my computer, and it will refuse to do that. So I'm just going to be an East River boy for a while on this computer, it looks like.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Jeez. Wow, okay. You want to go? All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Well, it said it was updating, but it just keeps saying still updating, so I don't know. New computer, who knows?